Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Business. Markets ended in the green for the third consecutive day. Energy, metal and realty sectors rose, whereas PSU banks were under pressure. Alex Matthew with the wrap of all the market action.
Indian equity markets gained in tandem with global markets, and you had the Nifty 50 that gained about 1% and reclaimed that 19,400 mark. The broader markets also kept pace, with the mid-cap 150 index gaining about 0.9% and the small-cap 250 index ending with gains of over 1%. Now, broadly, of course, the market breadth was favored, or rather market breadth favored the advances, and quite a lot of action in several sectors today. Everything apart from consumer goods as well as PSU banks gained in trade today, and the outperformance was led by the pharma pack as well as the metal packs, both of which gained 1.4 and 1.5% respectively. Now, the top movers on the Nifty 50, I'll take you through them. In fact, there were only about 5 losers on the Nifty 50 today, but the top gainers were Divi's Laboratories. We'll talk about that in just a bit. It gained over 5%. Eicher Motors, Hero MotoCorp, Axis Bank, as well as L&T. In fact, the entire private banking pack was up, and it helped the Nifty Bank gain as much as 0.7% in trade today. Among the losers, you had State Bank of India, which underperformed on the back of results in the second quarter because of a compression in the net interest margin and also the expectation of further compression going forward. The stock was down about 0.7%. HUL, Cipla, Tata Motors and Titan were the other losers in trade. Now, Bharat Forge was one of the top stocks that gained in trade. It gained about 4.5% on the back of a significant improvement in earnings. We also heard that the GDRs of the company will be delisted from the Luxembourg exchange. And finally, I will mention Divi's Laboratories. I mentioned that at the start. Arguably the stock of the day, and a very sharp up move towards the end of the session after the reporting of the second quarter numbers. Of course, the numbers don't look very pretty because of the high base of last year. But to a certain extent, you could say that that underperformance was priced in and it wasn't as bad as it was expected. And so the stock gained over 5%. All told, we'll have to see whether the bulls can maintain the momentum that they've built over the last couple of trading sessions, and we'll know soon enough.
All right, now the financial sector has posted robust September quarter earnings with steady net interest margin growth. Will this growth trajectory really continue over the next few quarters? Here's what Trust MF CIO Mihir Vora had to say.
Liability repricing and asset repricing, there are certain mismatches. So if in a quarter we see some movement or some reduction in NIMs, it should not come as a surprise, and it wouldn't be too much of a negative, I would say, because there is always some gap between the time that the liabilities are repriced and the assets are repriced for banks as well as for NBFCs. But in general, I've seen that whether it's a rising interest rate scenario or a falling interest rate scenario, banks and financials typically over a cycle do tend to maintain their margins. So I'm not too worried about margins. I would be monitoring more of the stress on NPAs and the growth in credit. So I think growth and asset quality is what I would treat as more important, not so much the margins. I would say margins, they manage somehow.
And Diwali has come early for Zomato. The company regained the 1 lakh crore market cap today. This after the shares hit a 52-week high as the net profit jumped, believe it or not, 1,700%. Now, analysts are also bullish on the stock going forward. Rishabh Bhatnagar joins in with all the details.
Shares of Zomato Limited have jumped over the past 2 days. This is because the company announced its Q2 earnings on Friday. What this has done to the stock is that Zomato has been able to regain the 1 lakh crore rupee market capitalization tag. It previously held these levels at around January of 2022, and now almost about 2 years later, it's finally been able to conquer those levels. Why the stock boomed is because Zomato reported a very healthy set of numbers. It posted about a 36 crore profit for the quarter. This was its second consecutive profitable quarter as well. The profit growth was about 18 times. It had only posted a 2 crore profit last time around. overall, there was positive commentary from the chief executive officer as well as the management. They posted that the gold program is also witnessing widespread adoption. There's also a platform fee that Zomato will be charging that will be about rupees 2 to 5 per order. That will also boost the top line. Apart from that, the food delivery business has also bounced back after 2 rather muted quarters.
All right, now can Bharat Forge cash in on the China Plus One opportunity? Here's what Joint MD Amit Kalyani had to say.
So it presents opportunities across sectors, across products, across capabilities and across geographies. In fact, we are now getting business from sectors that you would not even imagine are related to our industry. I'm not going to talk more about it right now because it's still WIP, but it's quite remarkable what can happen when, a fresh set of eyes looks at sourcing from, a zero base. And I think what's possible is quite remarkable.
Titan reported a jump in revenue and profit in the second quarter, and the company plans to aggressively expand in FY24 across Gulf and the US market. BQ Prime spoke to Ashok Sonthalia about the company's international plans.
Now I think we have 9 stores till Q2 and 1 in US, New Jersey. We actually opened 2 more in Qatar, which is Doha, and 1 more today is getting formally opened in Singapore. And even US, there are 2-3 stores which in next 1 or 2 months are going to be. So international whole expansion plan is on track and it's doing very, very well. We are getting very good response from not only from the global Indian community, but some of the adjacencies also are coming in and they are appreciating. So we are very satisfied.
And how do you plan, how many stores are you planning to open by the end of the financial year?
To my mind, for international, we should be close to 18, 19 kind of thing, towards 20, but 18 seems to be more realistic at this point of time. And in India, in any case, close to 40 new Tanishq stores and expansions, renovations, which generally not get reported that much, but in the square feet, you can notice that the expansions will at least get reflected.
Now, as newer players enter the paints industry, giants like Berger Paints are brushing up their strategies. BQ Prime spoke to Abhijit Roy of Berger Paints to understand what their strategy is to deal with the growing competition.
The sector has been very, very competitive, and it's been, of course, there are 4 big players in India already, and some of them are world's largest players, in the top 5 in the world. All of them are there, whether it is, Akzo Nobel, whether it is Nippon Paints, whether it is Kansai Paints, they're all in the top 5 in the world, and they are very much present in India for long years, in fact. And they don't have dearth of money, power, or for that matter, technology. So it's all available. It's not something which is we are going to face for the first time. So we have been facing and we have been winning this battle as far as we are concerned in India. We understand that possibly the Indian consumer quite well. We have a very strong network of distribution. We have a 100-year-old legacy brand which is there in India. So in decorative paint, for example, it's a strange category. Just to give you an example, in Lucknow we are the leader, and in Kanpur Asian Paints is the leader, and this has been going on for 12-15 years now. Similarly, in Moradabad we are a clear leader. In Ghaziabad, it's Asian Paints which is the leader. And the distances are not so high, right? Yeah. In Kerala, in Trivandrum, Asian is by far ahead of us. In Kollam, we are the leader, which is about 80 odd kilometers from Trivandrum. Now, this situation, why it happens is because, if you try to change the ground situation, you have to change everyone together, which means, the dealer, the painter, the consumer, the interior decorator, each one of them has to start believing that, my brand is better than the existing brand.
All right, that's all we have for you, and let's talk business. So that's as far as the business news is concerned. A short break and more news and updates continue.